jungle canopy calls for fuse delay. This gives the shell a chance to pierce the heavy foliage before exploding. Fuse quick causes the shell to burst on impact. It is most effective against shallow tunnels, light foliage, and huts. Heavier artillery is employed to provide long-range, highly destructive fires in support of maneuver forces. The war has provided new lessons in the use of helicopter gunships and tactical air support to supplement artillery. For the first time, the helicopter has been used in combat as a gunship. It is armed with a variety of weapons. One version has 2 rocket pods with 7 rockets in each pod. Another version is the aerial artillery helicopter, carrying a total of 48 rockets. The gunships have proved outstanding in delivering suppressing fire on the enemy during troop lifts in or out of landing zones, and during resupply and evacuation of wounded by helicopter. They may also carry 20-millimeter cannon or as many as 4 machine guns, coaxially mounted. The guns automatically home in wherever the sight is pointed. New lessons have been learned in the need for accuracy and timeliness in tactical airstrikes in support of friendly forces. A variety of fighter-bomber aircraft, mostly jets, but including the propeller-driven A-1E, is on call around the clock to strike with high-explosive, napalm, cannon, and rockets. Normally, jets can be on station anywhere in South Vietnam within 15 minutes of a request for close air support. A vital lesson learned is the need for precise coordination between artillery and aircraft. Whenever ground troops need more fire support than their organic artillery, the artilleryman must specify approach paths to the aircraft. He must also stop his artillery fire at the right moment so that it will not endanger friendly planes. The United States is in complete control of the air over Vietnam. Nonetheless, to protect our installations against surprise aerial attack by the enemy, the artillery has emplaced batteries of Hawk surface-to-air missiles at strategic locations. They are on alert around the clock. A lesson relearned in Vietnam is that pre-planning is of the utmost importance in coordinating fire support with infantry operations. Coordination starts at the highest level. The senior artillery officer works with the task force commander in setting fire support priorities. This coordination must be followed at all levels down to the company, where the artillery forward observer works directly alongside the infantry company commander. Still another lesson learned is that artillery officers stay in touch with local Vietnamese troop commanders, whose operations may be highly scattered and decentralized. Also with natives in the area, coordinating with province, village, and hamlet chiefs. Here the burden falls heavily on the artillery liaison officer and forward observer. They must know the location of friendly elements in the area to avoid firing on them. Indiscriminate use of firepower will hurt our cause and help the enemy. By and large, target acquisition is the biggest problem of the forward observer. The broken terrain, overrun by heavy undergrowth, makes ground observation difficult. This holds true for these friendly troops who are trying to pinpoint the elusive, well-concealed enemy to bring effective fire on him. Therefore, the FO must be prepared to adjust by sound rather than sight. For close-in support, a fresh lesson learned is that the first round fired should be white phosphorus. Its greater visibility against a green background makes it easier for the FO to adjust fires. The problem of target distinction between friendly and hostile forces becomes even greater when the infantry calls for fire support, sometimes less than 50 meters from its lines. For this extreme kind of close-in support, forward observers have learned that creeping fires can bring artillery fire close to friendly lines while minimizing chances of hitting our troops. During an air assault, the FO is among the first to move into an LZ. He is also among the last to leave, so that he can continue to call in suppressive fires on the enemy if necessary. FOs may not be available at all times. A lesson relearned in Vietnam is that platoon and squad leaders should have general training in how to call in artillery fires. Technology has eased the problem of target detection in Vietnam. There are many radars deployed with our forces, one of which is the AN/TPS-33 ground surveillance radar. But the difficulties of ground observation have enlarged the role of the airborne forward observer. In many cases, artillery adjustment is necessary from the air until the ground observer can see or hear the burst. The Air Force counterpart to the FO is the FAC, a member of the Forward Air Control Team. The efficient response in Vietnam to requests for aerial fire support is due in great part to FAC training in ground force fire support needs, plus the swift response of the Direct Air Support Center. The Air Force has demonstrated high-quality performance. When friendly forces call for bombing and napalm strikes as close as 100 meters, bomb runs must be made with pinpoint precision. Normally, the FAC on the ground or airborne guides fighter bombers to their targets. It is important to know the precise locations of friendly and hostile forces and to communicate this information to pilots in the air before they start their bomb runs. This has re-emphasized the utility of simple markers like smoke and panels to pinpoint friendly forces and indicate the direction of the enemy. A lesson relearned in Vietnam is the importance of reliable radio communications for artillery as well as infantry. Experience has confirmed the need for a new family of radios with extended range and more voice channels, which we now have in the field. For antennas tall enough for FM line-of-sight transmission to stations masked by jungle vegetation. Artillery must apply the lesson of good communications discipline. The enemy has listening and jamming capabilities and uses them. Artillery nets should be monitored at all times. Transmissions must be short and to the point with maximum security observed. The air-ground frequency should be common knowledge to friendly troops on the ground. Of all the lessons learned by artillery in Vietnam, none is more worthy of reiteration than the need to maintain maximum security. This lesson is most important on the battlefield, where a stealthy enemy may strike from any and all sides. This combat sequence, filmed under fire, drives this lesson home. The proud cannoneer must accept the fact that fighting as an infantryman must become second nature when it is necessary to protect himself, his gun, and his mission. He must be well dug in along a 360-degree defensive perimeter and maintain a constant state of alert without the slightest let-up. He must be prepared to answer enemy small arms fire with a well-aimed volume of fire of his own, using all weapons. Most important, he must be ready to use his howitzers in direct fire at point-blank range. He must be prepared to move out in aggressive counterattack, for experience has shown that the Viet Cong tend to break off an attack when resistance is not only spirited, but when you carry the fight to the enemy. The payoff is victory. The enemy has paid dearly. Captured weapons and Viet Cong dead indicate the extent of the enemy rout. The victory is not without cost to us. Some of the guns have been riddled by enemy fire. Vehicles too, but the defense stood firm. Shoot, move, communicate. The artillery's classic role is as true as ever, but combat in Vietnam has produced new lessons in security, coordination, target acquisition, and close fire support. With these lessons learned, plus the lessons we are still learning, the artilleryman can cope successfully with a difficult enemy in a difficult environment.